The absolute most important part is the things that happen before the sound is on your hard drive. So microphones, microphone preamps, and good converters. This is really the most important part, to get those the best you can, because if you get things sounding great when they go into your computer, everything else is easy. If things go in that don't sound great, everything else is difficult. So I always say that you would be much better to have a very good microphone, mic preamp, and converter, and then just use, only the plugins that came free with Cubase or Pro Tools, than to have really bad things going in and have $1 million Neve or SSL to mix with. The most important thing is to make the decisions to make things sound great while you're recording them. Because if you do that, everything else is easy. I always tell people, if you've spent more on your, plug-in collection than you've spent on your microphone collection, that you have things really backwards. It's much better, unless you're doing sort of drum and bass or electronic or something like that, where those kinds of things are more important. But if you're recording rock and roll, jazz, pop, folk music, blues, anything like heavy metal, the most important thing is what happens before the microphone, and the microphone, the preamp, and the converter. All of those things are the things that make the big differences, because if those are great, everything else is easy. You don't really even have to do much with plugins or a console if you get that right. So to me, that's the most important part of any studio, in a home studio or a high-end professional studio. I think the first microphone anybody should buy is a Shure SM57. It's a great microphone that they'll still be using in 20 years. So it can be great on vocals, guitars, drums, even violins and pianos. So I think the first microphone should be a Shure SM57. And then a second microphone should be a nice quality condenser. Yeah, my recommendation for somebody's first microphone should be the Shure SM57. And I don't work for Shure. I don't have any kind of contract with Shure. The Shure SM57 is the most popular snare drum mic of all time. It's the most popular electric guitar mic of all time. They're used as the lead vocal mic on major label records. I've recorded pianos and violins and harpsichord with them. It's really a microphone that most people will be using for decades, so it's always the first choice. And the reason I suggest people start with a dynamic in a home studio with a small budget is that for around €100, you're buying one of the best mics of all time in many people's opinion, and it definitely costs more money to get into a very good condenser microphone. So I would recommend get a Shure SM57 first, and then find a condenser mic that you like as your second microphone. And just having a good quality condenser and a Shure SM57, you'll be able to record almost anything you might have to record with that. Well, for any microphone, you need a preamp. So whether it's a condenser or a dynamic, you always need a preamp. Sometimes the preamp might be built into your converter, but the output level of a microphone is so low that you always need a preamp. But the preamp you have that might come in something like an M-Box or a Digidesign 003 or something like that, are not very high quality preamps. So if you can buy a better better preamp, that will actually a better preamp will make all of your microphones sound better, and make all of everything you record through it sound better. So for somebody like most people in a home studio situation, it's not very often that they record more than 1 or 2 channels at a time. So even just one channel of very good microphone preamp is great, because when you overdub bass you use it, when you overdub guitar you use it, when you do your vocal you do it. So you get that high quality going in every time. And if you can spend a little bit more money, you can even get better converters before your interface, so that you're just keeping the quality as high as possible all the way up to the recorder. If you have a microphone that is a good match for that vocalist, where they sound good together, and you use good quality microphone preamp and a good quality converter, there is no reason why a vocal you record at home cannot sound as good as a vocal you record at the biggest studio in Rome or London or Los Angeles. Yeah, absolutely. Vocals is the one thing. If you have the right microphone for the singer, and what we call the good front end, the mic pre and the converter, there's no reason that it cannot sound as good as if you'd spent 2,000 euros a day in a big studio. Absolutely, 100% yes. But it's always something different. The way that I think about albums and the creative process of recording is you have to understand and, honor the space that you're in. And if you're making something in your home, you just have to understand that this is the space environment that you're working in. And where I think home recordings fail is they try to make a home recording sound like something recorded at Abbey Road or Ocean Way or one of the big commercial studios. And just because they don't have those rooms and that large collection of microphones, they'll usually fail at that. But if you can try to make something that's beautiful, that captures the sound of your living room or the sound of your garage or your kitchen, and you make choices of arrangement and recording that best serve your environment, there's no reason things cannot be great. There's absolutely incredible records that can be made at home that are just as good as records that are made in the most expensive studios in the world. They're just different records.